And with that, 18 years in the NFL, 3 Pro Bowls, Super Bowls as well, Matt Hasselbeck. Let's first address Mike McCarthy. You know, generally in this sport, players occasionally have leverage. You guys do occasionally. Coaches don't. Almost never. GMs don't. I kind of feel like Mike McCarthy, after Vrabel signed, he and his agent went, you know, Jerry, we want 5 years guaranteed. It feels like, and I think Mike's a good coach, man. What do you make of it, and what do you make of Mike?
Yeah, there's no doubt. I think he's a great coach. This is kind of one of those things in negotiating. It feels like Mike McCarthy's just kind of betting on himself. He looks out there, he realizes what he is as a coach and what his resume is. And then also, I think probably most importantly, his resume working with quarterbacks. His first ever quarterback coaching job in the NFL was with the Kansas City Chiefs coaching Joe Montana. And it started with Joe Montana and it runs right through. Look it up. It's pretty impressive. Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers. And so I think if you think about the jobs that are out there and the quarterback help that needs to happen, Mike McCarthy's the perfect guy. And I think when it comes to these negotiations as well, he's not just thinking about himself. He's thinking about the job security of his entire staff. And that's probably where he kind of bowed up for his staff and said, hey, we want more commitment than you're offering for the rest of the guys here. And I think the coaching staff appreciates that as well. And I think you'll get a lot of the best coaches to come with him.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I said this last week, Matt, and I may be off my rocker, but I said the public loves 2 kind of coaches. The hip young ones, Sean McVay, Mike McDaniel, the cool guys. And they like the old alphas. They like Vrabel and Dan Campbell. And I'm like, he's not really either. He's just a really good coach. Among players, how is he viewed? Like what's his little secret sauce? Because he wins with everybody, including Cooper Rush.
Yeah, listen, he was my quarterback coach early in Green Bay when Ray Rhodes was the head coach, actually. And it was kind of miserable to have him as a position coach because he worked us so hard. I mean that, I guess it's a compliment. It was tough, but he was a great teacher. And I think he was a great developer. He developed the roster. Brett Favre was the starting quarterback, but he was developing me, some kid off the practice squad the year before. He was developing Aaron Brooks, a late round pick that later became his starting quarterback when he was the offensive coordinator for the New Orleans Saints. So, teacher, developer, those are all things you're looking for in a coach. And then I think at some level, you have to be able to, push a guy and inspire a team or the guys that you're with to think bigger than they're actually thinking for themselves. I know he did that for me personally. And so just take that as a position coach, as a coordinator, and just move it up to the head coach. That's really what you are doing for the team when you talk to the team. And then I think one of the most underrated parts of being the head coach, yes, game management, that's important. Everybody knows about that. But handling the bullets at the podium, at the press conference, when adversity strikes, when there's drama around your team, being the guy that takes the blame, being the guy that deflects the credit. He's got a lot of experience at the podium that way. Some head coaches, they can coach, but they can't handle the podium. And for that reason, I think you've got a proven commodity in Mike McCarthy here.
Okay, I know you love your Eagles, but they've got Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, the best O-line, 2 good receivers, Dallas Goedert, and they were 2 for 11 on 3rd down. I watched them.
Yeah, it was bad.
It was
bad.
Well, when you watch it, is it fair to say they're really led by Saquon Barkley, not the quarterback? That's kind of what I feel like.
I just think they're a team. I really think they're a team. And I think the unselfishness of Saquon Barkley is like you need more guys to have that mindset. Listen, I've been on this team the entire year. I like this team. I like the quarterback. The quarterback did not play well. I mean, you can pretend like he played great. He didn't. But I would just say this, having been a quarterback who's come out of concussion protocol, it's one thing to pass concussion protocol. It's a whole nother thing to feel like you are really absolutely 100% yourself. And so I saw a guy that was maybe a little tentative, maybe a little bit slower than normal, maybe just didn't have that same, something just felt off to me. So if I'm just speaking anecdotally for myself or what it was like for me coming out of those situations, that first game back usually wasn't my best. And maybe this next week he'll feel more like himself. He'll look more like himself. And the Eagles are going to need him to be that way to get the win because it's going to take more than what they had offensively in the passing game this week.
I said, if you look at the history of the NFL and you talk all-time stuff, and I'm talking Favre, Peyton, Mahomes, I mean like all-time stuff, you could argue there's been 15 or 16 of those quarterbacks that are just different. I don't know how Jayden Daniels, as a rookie, is this good late in games. Is it cognitive? Is it intuitive? Is it just innate? Matt, he looks calmer. This is very Mahomes. Remember Mahomes' first couple of years? We were like, you could never tell what the score was. He was as good trailing as he was leading. And it was just like, it almost like he just kind of privately shifted a gear and was more accurate in crisis. I don't even know what to make of Jayden Daniels. I mean, what do you see?
Yeah, he's unfazed, and he's really unbelievable. Like in the pressure moments, not only does his team believe in him, does everyone at home believe like, yeah, he's going to get it done. I really believe the opponent thinks like, here we go again. You know, we gave him too much time. The ball's in his hands. And that's as a runner or as a thrower. And, you know, some of those great quarterbacks, you mentioned Mahomes, like I'm as big a Mahomes fan as you could possibly be, but like he's got that emotional like roller coaster.
Yeah.
He gets into it with officials and he's yelling and he's, I feel like Andy Reid's got to put his hands on his shoulders sometimes and be like, hey, calm down, take a deep breath.
Yeah.
And, like that's great. You can be that way. Jayden doesn't seem that way. Like up, down, high, low, game winner. He's just kind of like, he's just cool. He's just medium, as they say. And that's fine. Like, I think to me, I talk about it like all the time. The quarterback position, when you get that right, you now are amazing marinara sauce over yesterday's pasta. You cover up for all bad play calls, medium talent, missed block up front, wide receiver didn't run a great route. It's all of a sudden a perfect throw. Like he is that guy. He is everything you're looking for in a quarterback that way. So look out. I mean, you want to talk about a guy that can pull off an upset. Jayden Daniels is your guy.
So I got to ask you, I know it's a week off, but Baltimore without Zay Flowers, wow. Buffalo, this is the most complete. I would argue outside of Detroit and Philly, and maybe along with them, James Cook, 2 tight ends, 3 receivers. You forget Amari Cooper's on the team. A great left tackle. Josh Allen. I don't know. I think Buffalo's the best team I've seen in the AFC. What do you expect in that game?
Listen, I like Buffalo. I love their quarterback. I love their coach. I love a lot about what they're doing offensively. I don't like this matchup. I mean, the only good thing I can say really is that this time around, this game's in Buffalo. But if you go back and watch that game, September 29th, Buffalo goes to Baltimore. I mean, that was a beat down. I mean, it wasn't even really competitive. And so, like, matchup-wise, I just really think that they're going to have their hands full with the running game. We're going to talk about Derrick Henry. We're going to talk about Lamar. I just think Todd Monken in Baltimore, they're rolling right now. A lot of times you'll hear coaches say this, hey, let's just get into the tournament and let's play our best football at the right time. I think that's what's happening for Baltimore right now. So quite honestly, this might be, the Super Bowl may happen in a few weeks, whatever. This might be the best game, though. This might be the best game of the entire playoff. 2 of the top quarterbacks. I just think that run game is going to be a real problem for Buffalo. They have to have a different game plan than they had the first time around. Yeah,
Derrick Henry's the opposite of most great backs. He wasn't great early in his career, but he's better as an old running back. Usually running backs have like 6 years of great, and then they tail off. I don't know what it's some vitamin program, but it is.
Well, it fits together because you have to decide, are we going to honor the naked bootleg? Are we going to honor the zone read of the quarterback? Or are we going to commit an extra guy to Derrick Henry? And if one guy misses, he's out the gate. And Todd Monken's done a great job of having naked bootlegs and plays off of it. Direct snap, eye candy, smoke and mirrors to the quarterback running a jet sweep. I mean, it all fits together right now, and it's just headaches. You can't play your normal NFL-style defense against this offense.
Wow. Finally, I look it over the landscape, and almost every quarterback outside of Jared Goff that is winning in this league moves. They all move. Mahomes moves. Hurts moves. Jayden moves. I look at this pocket thing, and I think, well, Brady won a bunch, and Goff does have a great O-line. But I'm watching Jayden last night, and I'm thinking to myself, Is the pocket – I know you got to throw from the pocket, but it felt like all weekend the mobility was a huge factor on third down for these teams. Do you feel like as a pocket – you could move, but as a pocket guy, that the game's just changed and you have to move to win the ring?
I would agree with you. I think the quarterback movement was a major factor this weekend. Big plays, third down, fourth down, especially fourth down this week. I thought that was a real factor. I would just say this, though. I've heard that conversation for years and years and years, and I heard it all throughout the playoffs, and you saw a lot of it. And at the end of the year, it was a guy like Tom Brady or Nick Foles or somebody else, having the great year. Matt Ryan had an MVP year. And so I don't think there's one way to skin a cat that way. I think quarterback movement keeps defensive coordinators up at night. You say, who would you rather defend? They don't want to defend a guy that can move around. But at the end of the day, it's the consistent delivering the ball on time on the proper shoulder to convert third downs, to win in the red area. I think that's probably the thing that's been true over time. But there's no doubt the creativity from the college game with these quarterbacks that can move, and then the scramble drills. If you ask any D coordinator, they want none of that.
Finally, Jimmy Johnson yesterday suggested McCarthy to Pittsburgh, Tomlin to Dallas. What do you make of that? It sounds fun. It's
genius. I mean, that'd be super fun. There's nobody more Pittsburgh that I've ever met than Mike McCarthy. I mean, that dude loves Pittsburgh. But I just, I think Mike Tomlin's an awesome coach. I think the talks of getting rid of Mike Tomlin are kind of ridiculous. The only way I think that could work is if Mike Tomlin wanted to change his scenery for some reason. I think he's a great coach. Changes need to happen though. Like the effort and the pursuit that I saw defensively from Pittsburgh yesterday. At times it looked like a Pro Bowl defense, like, just tagging off, standing around the pile. I just didn't recognize it. Having gone against that team for many, many years, their defense was just always relentless, always tough, physical, flying around to the ball. Like I used this quote before, on defense, your love for your teammate and for what we're doing can be measured by how close you are to the ball when the whistle blows. And, so I think that's got to get fixed. I think if Mike Tomlin wants to stay, he's earned the right to be the guy to fix it.
Matt Hasselbeck, 18 years in the NFL. Love having you on a Monday. Thanks, buddy.
All right. See you, Colin.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe here to get the latest from the herd, including exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more, wherever you may be, however you may be watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day.